And that's what your comments did. Your comments basically put your seal of approval on murder and assassination. And I'm trying to understand whether you like this guy, like the way he does business or not, you're advocating and putting a smiley face on assassination. And I'm trying to understand what is in your soul that doesn't understand he's a father and a husband here. What are you missing? There seems to be a missing chip with you.
I have a no asshole policy. I also have a no yes man policy.
Sean, if you'd like.
Technology, online culture journalist Taylor Lorenz is here to explain. All right. Try and explain this to me. You feel joy. Those are your words. So you felt joy over the murder of this father. No, those are the words you use. You can shake your head all you want.
No.
We have the tape. We have the tape. And number one, then you go on to say, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. Then you posted an image of the Blue Cross CEO, Kim Keck. Now, let me ask you, what part of this United Healthcare CEO being a father and a husband don't you understand? And what part of you having a choice of what healthcare provider you choose to deal with or not do you not understand? Because you don't have to go with United. You don't have to go with Blue Cross.
So let me just be extra clear. Never did I say that I felt joy in his death. I said very explicitly, if you play the full segment, and actually people can watch that segment on my YouTube in full, not the edited version that Piers showed. I said that I felt joy, along with millions of other Americans, that the brutality of our healthcare system was finally being acknowledged. I believe that our current healthcare system is murderous, right? I mean, we have uninsured Americans with a 40% higher risk of death compared to insured counterparts.
Taylor,
Nearly 70,000 Americans die
that's
each
not
year
the topic.
due to lack of health insurance.
Taylor, that's not the topic. If you can talk about health care, I don't like the health care system either, and a lot of people have experienced frustration like you're saying. That, to me, is separate and apart from the debate of praising, calling handsome, smart, intelligence, being joyful over the death and assassination of innocent people. And that's what your comments did. Your comments basically put your seal of approval on murder and assassination. And I'm trying to understand whether you like this guy, like the way he does business or not, you're advocating and putting a smiley face on assassination. And I'm trying to understand what is in your soul that doesn't understand he's a father and a husband here. What are you missing? There seems to be a missing chip with you.
Sean, if you'd like to hear, I will need to talk in order to explain.
I don't want the rationalization. I want you to think about what you said. Explain what you said.
I know exactly what I said. Again, I'm attempting to right now, so I'd ask you to please give the space and try to listen here. As I said, once again, never did I say I felt joy that this man died. I said, again, that I felt joy that millions of Americans or millions of really wealthy Americans and privileged Americans are forced to wake up to the reality that nearly 70,000 Americans die each year due to lack of health insurance. I do feel joyful that that is an issue that's being talked about. Okay, you're back to the healthcare debate.
Why would any human being with a conscience and soul be joyful over an assassination of any person? Why would anybody be joyful over that?
Well, actually, that's a good question. Why don't I explain?
It's a great question.
The other clip that you played is not me saying my own beliefs. I have quite different beliefs from that. What I'm describing, and if you watch the full segment, not just the clip, you'll see that I'm describing the mentality of these fangirls that show up outside Luigi's court and show up outside his jail cell. Those girls are not me, okay? We have very separate belief systems. But I was describing how they believe. And now let me explain to you why people in America feel this way. People in America feel this way, and they feel outraged because, again, every penny of the $22 billion in profit made by United Health was made at the expense and suffering of others. And that is violence. Our healthcare system is also violent. And that is a violence that people in the mainstream media, such as yourself, continue to refuse to acknowledge. So if you're going to talk about death and violence, it's crucial to talk about the death and violence of our healthcare system. Pardon?
There's a better way than saying that Luigi Mangione is a revolutionary who's famous, handsome, young, smart,
That is what those people believe. That is what those people believe.
And seems like he's a morally good man. If you want to have legitimate criticism, you could write an intelligent piece saying, here is what's wrong with America's healthcare system. Like, for example, I want healthcare savings accounts. I would like to see more of the use of telemedicine. I believe in healthcare cooperatives. I know one that works. Josh Umber, Atlas MD, average person, 24-hour concierge care, $50 a month. There are better ways to do it. That's a legitimate debate. But that's not how you're saying it. You're saying it in ways that are sympathetic to the people that are taking action.
I'm describing
handsome, good looking.
belief
This is why
system
people
of his
are happy and
supporters.
joyful.
I'm describing the belief system of his supporters, Sean. Oh,
Why don't you condemn them?
Hello?
Will you say that anyone that praises this guy is lacking a soul, a conscience, and a heart? Do you agree with that statement?
well, what I will say, Sean, once again, is that I
just
believe in
asked
free
you a very
speech.
direct question. Will you say that anyone that's praising this guy doesn't have a soul, a conscience, and a heart?
I don't believe in things like, religious things like souls
I'm
and
not
all of these
asking
things.
about religious. If you can't have
You're asking me
sympathy
to judge
for a
whether
dead
someone has a
father and
soul.
husband, do you lack a conscience, a soul, and a heart? That's a simple question. You're a smart woman.
Well, let me respond to you, Sean. I believe that every one of the 70,000 Americans that die each year because of lack of health insurance also
You're back
has
to
a heart.
healthcare
Those
and
are
not
human
answering my
beings.
question. I've done this 29 years, Taylor. Answer the question. If you think it's
yeah.
okay and you celebrate assassination, are you lacking a conscience, a soul, and a heart?
I think once again you're conflating me explaining
I'm
the
not
ideology
conflating
of the women that
You
show
are trying
outside.
to rationalize them. If you support assassination,
Yes, I think it's
answer,
important.
Taylor, answer the question. If you support
Again,
assassination of innocent people, are you lacking a conscience, a soul, and a heart? Simple question. Go.
I believe that the assassination of innocent people, if we want to talk about the assassination of innocent people, I believe that the tens of thousands of Americans that die each year because of the lack of health insurance, that is, to me, a violence in itself. That is assassination. These health
I'm willing
insurance.
to have that discussion with you, but we can't have that discussion until
Well,
you
can't
say
have the discussion when you're
that-
not willing to
for
hear,
example,
Sean, what my beliefs are,
will
and
you
you continue
condemn
to
people that
conflate
have
the
been
beliefs
committing
of-
acts of? Do you condemn the people that tried to assassinate Donald Trump, or would it be a good thing in your mind? Or would you understand why people want to kill him, or understand why people want to kill Elon Musk? Do you understand them too? Are they handsome people
So I
too,
think-
smart people?
Well, so let me actually talk to you a little bit about that. So I cover violent extremism. I've witnessed violent extremism for many different factions, right, of the political system. If, for instance, somebody shows up and shoots an abortion provider dead, I want to understand their ideology. I'm a reporter. I want to understand their belief system, and I want to understand what led them there. Now, let me tell you something, because it's interesting you bring up the assassination of Donald Trump.
If you resort to violence and you kill innocent people, aren't you lacking a conscience, soul, and a heart? What's so hard?
Well,
Why
so
won't
it's
you
really-
answer that question?
Well, once again, when you talk about souls, that's not really my specialty. But what I do specialize in is extremism.
Obviously.
We are at a time right now.
By the way, I
we
would
are at
say
a time
that's
right
obvious.
now. Okay, thank you. Well, we are at a time right now when we're witnessing actually one of the biggest memes on the internet right now is about assassinating Trump and Elon. These are posts with millions of likes that are advocating for the assassination of
Okay,
the president.
simple question.
That is a sign
Do
of
you
a very
condemn that?
unstable democracy.
Can you take a
So
moral
my point
stand and
is
condemn
I
that?
want to, what I condemn is the violence of our system, and I would love for you to acknowledge that. I
I'm
would
not
love
asking
for
you to condemn the
acknowledge
system.
constant-
Taylor, do you condemn people that call for
Gosh,
assassination?
you're going to ask if I condemn Hamas next. This is crazy. I would love for you to acknowledge what I'm actually saying, Sean, and we seem to be talking past each other. I want to talk about the
No,
fact that half of all
I hear you
adults
loud
suffer
and clear.
delayed care because of cost. We need to talk about that 70% of Americans, by the way, believe that the insurance company practices are responsible in part for Thompson's death. These are signs of an unhealthy...
You want to put a rationalization. I am saying anybody that wants to assassinate any innocent person is wrong. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. or a father or a husband, and I speak that is a simple truth that anyone with a heart would easily say on national TV that you're having a hard time with.
If you want to prevent further deaths and you don't want gun violence in the street, which I think we both are aligned in wanting, right? We want peace. We do not want violence in this country, no matter what side of the political aisle it's coming from. You need to understand motives and you need to understand the ideology that people have. And that is what my job is.
Why don't you first start with the basics? I'm going to help you out. Why don't you first condemn those that want to be involved in assassination and stop talking about them being handsome and smart and intelligent and
I didn't say that I believe that. I am describing his supporters who do believe that, and I think it's very important. Just the way that I would try to understand the ideology
Will you
of,
condemn
for instance,
his supporters?
the people that march at the
question.
Unite the Right rally. I would try to understand the ideology of anyone that would advocate for violence in this country, no matter what it is.
Do you condemn his supporters?
Once again, I believe in free speech. I believe in free speech. If they have not committed any crimes, his supporters are outside just saying things. They're not.